All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. The sponsor of today's video is Mojo Fantasy. Mojo Fantasy has introduced a whole new way to play fantasy football this season. It works by entering into contests and building a portfolio of players. The better your portfolio performs, the more cash you win. It's simple. The props you pick act like stocks, and you can buy and sell player stock live all game long. And you can cash in on a hot start or just hang on and let them ride. That's it. Make picks, make moves, make money. Now, this week I'm entering into a contest, and this is what I'm going with. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers over 238.5 passing yards, Garrett Wilson with an anytime touchdown, Josh Allen under 244.5 passing yards, Garrett Wilson over 5.5 receptions, and Khalil Shakur over 12.5 receiving yards. To play Mojo Fantasy alongside me, check the link in the description and use the promo code KRUG, K-R-U-E-G, and get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. All right, let's talk about the good and the bad from the 49er Week 1 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you go on the road in Week 1 and you slap around a team like the Steelers, who are notoriously great in Week 1, there's not going to be a lot of bad. So why don't we start with the good, and we'll eventually get to the bad. We'll start, first of all, with Kyle Shanahan. I thought it was a brilliantly called game by Shanahan. He didn't take a lot of uncharacteristic risks. He leaned on his best players. He put Brock Purdy in position to be successful. They mixed in a real nice collection of runs and passes. And I thought overall it was a good offensive game plan, and thus the Niners produced 30 points on offense. Now, Brock Purdy was outstanding. Let's be honest here. 19 of 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took 3 sacks. He also had 3 runs. One of them was key on a key fourth quarter, 3rd and long, where he ran for a first down to keep the clock moving. Huge running first down there for Purdy. He just had answers all day long. He played with timing. He played with tempo. He played with rhythm. The ball came out on time. He was accurate. He didn't make the big mistake. The big concern for the 49ers going into this game was Brock Purdy. Would he turn it over? Would he be harassed and harangued? Would he be knocked all over the yard? And would he turn the ball over a bunch of times via interceptions? He didn't throw any interceptions. And he was really, really good on third down, the quarterback down. So Brock Purdy definitely in the good column. Brandon Ayuk, man, what we saw this summer from Brandon Ayuk was not an accident. He was fantastic in Week 1. 8 catches on 8 targets for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Every time they needed a big catch, Ayuk was there. And he burned Patrick Peterson for 2 touchdowns. And Purdy, by the way, got a little payback on Pat Pete for talking a lot of smack about how the Niners had tells. So much for the tells. Now, Peterson almost got a couple picks, but he didn't get either of them. And then Purdy toasted him for a couple touchdowns. So winner Brock Purdy, loser Pat Pete. Christian McCaffrey, another winner. 22 carries, 152 yards and a touchdown. McCaffrey ran for 6.9 yards per carry. He was fantastic. Niner receivers, you got to credit both Ayuk and Ray McLeod for the blocking they did on the play of the game, which was the Christian McCaffrey 65-yard touchdown run. Those 2 receivers got down the field and made some key blocks. And so you got to shout those guys out for their blocking. You know, they say no block, no rock. Well, the 49er receivers block, and then they get the football. The Niners O-line, I think, was a very much of a positive. They paved the way for a 34-carry, 188-yard rushing day from the 49ers, a day where they ran the ball for over 5.5 yards a clip against the Pittsburgh defense. And then you mix in the fact that the O-line only allowed 3 sacks of Brock Purdy and only 7 quarterback hits against a ferocious defensive front. That's a win, and that's a win, absolutely. Now let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball, and there were a lot of winners on the defensive side, most notably Demo Lenore, who had a team-high 10 tackles, 8 of which were solo. The combo of Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw was outstanding. That duo combined for 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass defense Fred Warner dropped what could have been a pick six. Otherwise, it would have been an epic day from the Niners linebacker tandem. In fact, the 49er run defense allowed only 41 yards and only 4.1 yards per carry. So overall, they did a real nice job against Najee Harris and company. Fred Warner had the huge pop on Najee on the first run of the day that basically just said, "Hey, you know what, Najee, it ain't going to be your day, and you're gonna get hit in the mouth." And Warner stuck him hard on that first play of the game, first running play to Najee, I should say. Very impressive, kind of a tone-setting hit. Talanoa Hufanga, another guy playing really good football. 5 solo tackles, a tackle for a loss, a pass defensed, several big physical hits, and an interception. Hufanga played like the all-pro player that he was last year in week 1. Mooney Ward had an interception and 3 tackles and played with some heel pain. Very strong effort from Mooney Ward. Very good day from Drake Jackson, the second-year defensive end out of USC. 3 sacks and 5 tackles. He was everywhere. Really good day. First game as a 49er for the veteran free agent, Clelin Ferrell. 2 tackles. He had a tackle for a loss. He had 2 quarterback hits. Ferrell played well and set the tone early inside the backfield. Javon Hargrave had a late sack and 3 tackles in his first game with the Niners. Kerry Hyder had a sack. Nick Bosa played a full contingent of plays, had a number of hurries, 2 tackles, and 1 hit on the quarterback. And then the other positive was the 49ers dominated the time of possession. The Niners held the ball for 37 minutes and change to 22 minutes for Pittsburgh, and that was a huge impact on the game. It was one of the reasons that if the Niners have a weakness in their run D, that we didn't see it at all in week 1 because they didn't allow the Steelers to possess the ball. They got the lead. They took away the run. They possessed the heck out of the football, and it made it very difficult for the Steelers to get any momentum going on the offensive side of the ball. Now, as far as the negatives, and there were some negatives, but very few. One was Colton McKivitz really struggled with T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt's a phenomenal player, as good as there is in the league. He had 5 tackles. He had 3 sacks. He caused a fumble. He had 5 hits on the quarterback. It could have been worse, but it wasn't good for Colton McKivitz. So I thought overall McKivitz had, won a number of snaps. But, man, when the guy you're blocking all day has 5 hits on the quarterback and 3 sacks and causes a fumble, it's not your best day at the office. So wasn't a good one for Colton McKivitz. It was going to be a really tough spot for him to have a good day on paper. And he did some good things, but 5 hits on the quarterback is too many. Penalties. The 49ers had 11 penalties for 88 yards. That's too many penalties. They've got to minimize those penalties going forward. That's just too many. And then on the defensive front, it was a strong game overall for the defense, but Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw did play a number of snaps, and yet combined for only 1 tackle combined between the two of them, and only 1 quarterback hit combined. It came from Armstead. So, while they're solid against the run, and I thought Kinlaw was really active, as I've seen him, and Armstead is kind of an underrated player. It's always hard to read the stat sheet on a guy like Armstead and really appreciate his true value, his true worth as a football player. He does a lot of smart things on the football field. But overall, 1 tackle combined for Kinlaw and Armstead. I'd like to see those guys pile up a few more totals in the tackle column, and also get multiple hits on the quarterback. So Kinlaw and Armstead could be more productive. Too many penalties for the 49ers, 11 for 88 yards, and Colton McKivitz struggled mightily with the great T.J. Watt. All right, there you go. There's the good and the bad from the 49ers win, a 30-7 shellacking of the Steelers at Heinz Field. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show, and thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krueger Show on YouTube.